balance. It tracks what is owed, what is given, and the ongoing total, so that every entry on the ledger has its matching counterpart. Essentially, it is a simple tool to ensure everything is accounted for and nothing is overlooked. And now I'm going to read you a poem that's called The Ledger. You don't need to live under Vladimir Putin to recognize the stink of tyranny wafting out of the Oval Office. You don't need a PhD in kleptocracy to know what looting with an American flag pin on a suit lapel looks like. And you don't need to be a criminologist to know that our entire government is now operating like a mafia syndicate. No, just follow the boots, the bans, the buzzwords, the book burnings, and the body bags. What we're watching isn't chaos, it's choreography. A state-sponsored smash and grab with a patriotism decal slapped on the window. This regime isn't some dumb accident. It's a reprint of the Russian repression playbook with the serial numbers filed off and a Bible quote taped to the cover. And cruelty, that's not the malfunction, that's the feature. It doesn't just silence the victim, it stuns the audience. Every immigration raid, every courtroom farce, every fascist cosplay speech is meant to freeze you right where you are while they empty the vault. You think these guys care about America? They care about the spectacle. They care about the scam. Their leader stumbles with power like a raccoon loose in a pawn shop, clumsy, hungry, and shiny thing obsessed. And he dragged in every grifter, bully, and bootlicker he could find to fleece the country while it was still warm. They aren't building anything. They're stripping our republic for its parts. And the mask is nationalism. It's law and order. It's unidentified men in jackboots dragging mothers into vans, not to resolve a crisis, but to create one. Because when you're scared, you're silent. And when you're grieving, you're not organizing. And when you're too busy just surviving, you stop dreaming of justice. That is the point. That's always been the point. This isn't about immigration. It's about domination. It's about them making sure you know your place in their America. They want you afraid, obedient, impotent, disillusioned, and alone. But history ultimately laughs at cowards like these. The shock will fade and fear will calcify. And that's when rage sharpens into action. These bastards want silence, give them hell. They want surrender, give them solidarity. They want your despair, give them defiance. Say what's wrong, point to it, name it, stand in front of the bus. Don't let them launder oppression with euphemism. They're not enforcing the law. They're disappearing neighbors. They're not protecting borders. They're carving up the soul of democracy and selling the scraps to the highest bidder. And through it all, through every lie and betrayal, every flashbang, every condescending news anchor telling us to calm down, we must remember why it is we fight. We fight for every person that's been brutalized or erased during our nation's history. We fight for the freedom riders, the fire hosed, the lynched, those who bled on bridges, the dispossessed and the disenfranchised, those stuffed into prisons without due process. And we fight because the ghosts of those who stood against fascism the first time are watching us now to see if we learned a thing from their struggle. We don't fight because we are optimistic. We fight because we are alive, God damn it. Because history is right here, right now, and this time our name is on the ledger. And each of us needs to make sure our name is carved on the correct side of it. Well, it could be a long night. It might be a while before you see the light of day again. Tell me now, are you down? Well, are you down to do this thing? How deep is your faith? How strong's your belief? 'Cause it could be a long night. I mean, this could really knock some time off your clock. You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing. We're like a melting candle of pain. You're gonna need to burn away every little thing that no longer matters, 'cause it could be a long night. I'm talking about your dignity. I'm talking about your safety. Well, these are illusions, as you will see, long before we ever see the light. Everything you ever cared about, all the things you thought you never doubt, all of this will be driven out. And it could be a long night. Yes, this could be a long night. Yes, a mighty long night. Well, you better hold on tight, 'cause it could be a long night. Yeah, it's a leviathan of authoritarianism that we face, my friends. There will be clouds of foreign entanglements and reams of alternative facts. Executive orders will be issued to round up the opposition. Babies will be ripped from the arms of their mothers along our nation's borders. And the rights of women to have dominion over the affairs of their own bodies will be brought into question. And going up against this is going to take courage. And I'm not talking about posting shit on Facebook kind of courage. I'm talking about real courage, spiritual courage, and physical courage. So get ready. Man, it could be a long night. I'm talking about your dignity. I'm talking about your safety. Well, these are illusions, as you will see, long before you ever see the light. Everything you ever cared about, all the things you thought you never doubt, all of this will be driven out. And it could be a long night. Yes, this could be a long night. Yes, a mighty long night. So you better hold on tight, 'cause it could be a long night. I got it fixed. All right, we're going to play a little song that came out of Sop Choppy, Florida. I went to a 4th of July parade there one time. And we can take a little of our guitar down out of just a hair. But anyhow, I went to Sop Choppy, Florida. It's a little town southwest of Tallahassee. It's got 2 stop signs. And very southern and conservative town. And I went down there and they had a little, what they called an incident. Go down. There you go, that's the one. That's good right there. Well, the gay and lesbian sons and daughters of the Southern Confederacy, They built a float and they entered it in our 4th of July parade. And there were ladies wearing leather and men wearing lace, and others wearing cheap leotards. And with a swish and a swagger, they come strutting down the street, waving the stars and bars. Yeah, you gay and lesbian, sons and daughters, the Southern Confederacy. Well, they built a float and entered it in the 4th of July parade. There was a fella in a flute and a tutu, playing Dixie with a skinny drummer boy. And this butchie gal, she was the majorette, directed with an obscene toy. But yeah, you gay and lesbian, sons and daughters, the Southern Confederacy. Well, they built a float and entered it in the 4th of July parade. Play with me. Of old Stonewall Jackson and another a Truman Capote, and there was Billie Jean King and Elton John, but the biggest was of Robert E. Lee. I say you gay and lesbian, sons and daughters, the Southern Confederacy. Well, they built a float and entered it in the 4th of July parade. Sam to wave the rebel flag on Independence Day, or just a poke in her ribs of that long lost cause for these queers to carry on this way. Yeah, you gay and lesbian, sons and daughters, the Southern Confederacy. Well, they built a float and entered it in the 4th of July parade. Yeah, they built a float and they entered it in our 4th of July parade. Say hello to my friend Jeff Perry. A year ago, almost to the date, I was playing here. Just a hair more than that. I had a show here, and I had somebody that's playing with me got sick and dropped out. And I asked my friend Karen Newman if she knew anybody, a fiddle player. She said, "Yeah, I know one." And she gave me Jeff's number, and I called him and said, "Will you come play with me?" He said, "Sure." And he came. We didn't rehearse or anything like that, of course. And he came up, and we played, and that was a year ago. I hadn't seen him since, and he came in 10 minutes ago. Here we are again. Okay, this is going to be in B flat, D flat, G sharp. I'm going to play a song that I recently wrote. And I had a very long summer. I did 11,000 miles on tour this summer. And I wore out a car, had to buy a new one. And out on the highway, I was not in the state of Florida. I was actually driving through cornfields of Iowa, and I started writing a song about driving through Florida. This is called State of Things. Got a landfill on my left, Atlantic Ocean on my right. The traffic's fast and furious on the Florida Turnpike. And there's the ghost of Osceola and that legacy of shame from a fascist concentration camp out in the Everglades. Well, I'd rather I be Judas, betray Jesus with a kiss, than to be caught dead buying into a state of things like this. Got land, here we go, hey. There's roadkill on the shoulder, and the ditch is green with slime, and outlet malls and fast food joints where once were oaks and pines. And I'm alligator angry, but I'm overcome by grief and this sense of disillusion and my utter disbelief. But I'd rather I be Judas, betray Jesus with a kiss, than to be caught dead buying into a state of things like this. Man, I'm white knuckling this wheel, and I'm going hard, but I'm not going far, 'cause there's no mistaking how I feel. This real estate religion, it's a pagan subterfuge where the fat cats paint the cross up with the red, white, and blue. In the wake of insurrection and a future going blind, well, I'm digging down inside of me for a man that wants to fight, 'cause I'd rather I be Judas, betray Jesus with a kiss, than to be accused of buying into a state of things like this. Thank you. That song is what we say in the biz, still in development. Guy Clark said you never finish the song, you just abandon it. This is a philosophical song. Life's a cowboy gothic about a riderless horse, and it's narrated by an ambiguous voice. And the implicit message is there's always a choice. You just gotta have the courage to make it. Horse trots into town beneath the bloody red moon, and he's saddled and he's bridled and he's well shod and groomed, and he stops beneath the window right above the saloon, where there's a whore and she's been patiently waiting. Yeah, life's a cowboy gothic about a riderless horse, and it's narrated by an ambiguous voice. And the implicit message is there's always a choice. You just gotta have the courage to make it. The whore comes down the stairs and she's in a white wedding gown, and the whiskey stops flowing and the cards go face down, and it's out in the street there the crowd gathers round as she slowly steps up to that horse, and there's a smile on her face and a tear in her eye. Man, she's regal and she's virgin in the bloody moonlight. She hops on that horse and rides off in the night, and you hear the quiver in the narrator's voice. Yeah, life's a cowboy gothic about a riderless horse, and it's narrated by an ambiguous voice. And the implicit message is there's always a choice. You just gotta have the courage to make it. Well, the whore and the horse, they're never heard from again. But a legend of myth and mystery begins. And as the credits they roll and our story it ends, you see the narrator's got one last thing to say. You change water to wine, you change wine into blood, you change wind into dust, you change dust into mud. You change a whore into a bride, you'll see her rise above the flood, and a groom will be waiting there for her. Yeah, life's a cowboy gothic about a riderless horse, and it's narrated by an ambiguous voice. And the implicit message is there's always a choice. You just gotta have the courage to make it. Yeah, you better have some courage. Thank you so much. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all understand? Okay. I'm singing to you. This is E flat minor. That's the bad news. The good news is it's just one progression. And then it's got one little B flat in here. All right, I'm gonna read a poem. I did not write this poem. This was written in 1919, in the aftermath of World War I. And I know we got a lot of English majors in here tonight. And some of them would tell you that they might not say this is the best poem of the 20th century, but it's arguably the most important poem of the 20th century. And as I read it, you will hear phrases all throughout this poem that you have heard throughout other that have been grafted off of this poem and used in other songs and poetry and literature and book titles. It was written in 1919 by an artist, like many artists, who had been overwhelmed, stunned by the horrors of the First World War, and incredulous about just how cruel and how horrible that man could be to man. And what they saw is that not only was this inhumanity, which had probably been around a long time, but that it was accelerated and made even more acute by technology. And I think it was a premonition about what technology was going to do to us. This is called The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the sinner cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed. And everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out of my mouth when a vast image of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with a lion's body and the head of a man moves, while all about it the shadows of indignant desert birds reel. And the darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches now towards Bethlehem to be born. Look out, people, now it won't be long. A hurricane will be a-blowing strong. The chance to rise will have come and gone, slouching towards Bethlehem. What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? Slouching towards Bethlehem. They're coming in the name of hunger, putting all the poor folks under. And who is behind him, I wonder? Slouching towards Bethlehem. What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? Slouching towards Bethlehem. And coming in the name of finance, revolution and violence, they're counting on collusion and silence. Slouching towards Bethlehem. What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? Slouching towards Bethlehem. Now lay your shoulder to the wheel, rise up high on top of the hill. Blow your horn even louder still, slouching towards Bethlehem. What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? Slouching towards Bethlehem. What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? What kind of beast comes slouching? Slouching towards Bethlehem. Slouching towards Bethlehem. Y'all are quite the audience listening to this shit here. All right, I think we ought to do a love song. Might as well. I know there's a lot of children here, so I'm gonna have to modify this song. Oh no, man, I would not. I don't want to be the one that introduces your children to this word. I'm getting the thumbs up from Dad out here. Yeah, he's had a couple beers. He's thinking like, hey, how bad could it be? It's really, really crooked. You'll find it. Let me get through the first one. Here we go. Love song. You ready? They say every man should have a broken heart at least once. That's good. And that's how we all grow emotionally. And I've been kicked around by a lot of women in my life. But nothing can compare to how you treated me. At times it seemed as though the pain would never go away. It was many years ago, I know, but I still feel it to this day. And now I see you wanna be my friend on Facebook. Are you frickin' kidding me? Well, all the memories, they're coming right back to me now. How you lied and cheated, how could I forget? Well, I moved across the world just to get away from you. And then this morning I received your friend request. At times it seemed as though the pain was never gonna quit. You nasty little hussy. Oh, you narcissistic. I see now that you wanna be my friend on Facebook. Are you frickin' kidding me? Well, I don't care what kind of cocktail you are, or which member of the Beatles or 1950s movie star. And I don't give a shit what your stripper name is, or if your kitty had a litter, or if farm bills in a Twitter. I don't want to see your new tattoo, and I damn sure won't be poking you ever again. Oh, now I see you wanna be my friend on Facebook. Or are you frickin'? Are ya frickin' kidding me? was about to go blind. I was straining my eyes, I was searching for some kind of sign of a change. But it's hard to swallow the truth. But man, I sure could use just a little bit of a taste or two right now. Never been a better time to raise your hands against your fathers, or burn a flag and lay some flowers upon the graves of our long forgotten martyrs. Well, I'm not saying I'm all in or nothing at all. I'm just searching for a sign. And it's hard to save yourself once you poison the well. Well, who you gonna call for help then? 'Cause once them wheels they fall off, you start heading for the wall. Well, there really there ain't no soft way to land. I never dreamed, I never lived to see the day that we'd see days like this. Did we just look up and all of a sudden find ourselves caught up in this big old fucking mess? I'm not saying I'm all in or nothing, no. I'm just searching for a sign. Everybody is waiting on somebody else to make that first move. But it's hard to start a revolution when your face is 6 feet from your television. And you're all afraid to make that big decision. You keep on hoping for a sign, like maybe some virgin crack whore giving birth to a Christ child in a trailer park down there in the Villages, or a little black stable boy statue crying whiskey tears the front yard of Mar-a-Lago. Well, I'm not saying I'm all in or nothing, no. I'm just searching for a sign. Shocking all it takes to bring our nation right to its senses. Man, I can feel a change, it's coming soon, and I keep on hoping for a sign. Any kind of sign. Mighty fine job, Jeff. This is in E. Pretty straightforward. Bridge goes to D minor, E flat, E, F, F sharp. That's where the bridge goes. Some of y'all might know my lifelong friend and soul sister, Elizabeth Williamson. Liz and I went to school together at Leon High School. And man, she was this, you didn't know that? Yeah, and she was this little waif that walked around school with this guitar over her back, and she would stop under the trees and sing Joni Mitchell songs, and god damn, man, it was just like unbelievable. We were all so in love with her. And then she married some older guy. And but what a great friend she has been. She says she's the older sister I never wanted. But she has produced 3 of my records. Pretty much every song that you've ever heard me sing, I can say Liz Williamson heard it before you did. In fact, that song, like State of Things, that song I did earlier, I went down to Gatorbone 2 weeks ago with a batch of songs just to sit down and play them for her, just to where she could say, oh, you need to go to a minor there, and I think you need to not have 2 stops in a song. And there's nobody's opinion who I value more than hers. And so we talk a lot on the telephone, and this is a song that was born of a long history of conversations that we have in the morning after we get what we call caffeinated. And we get on the phone. And I don't know if y'all like that. I have this window in the morning, like when I wake up, it's really bad, okay? Yeah, I hurt, and everything's dark, and then I get the coffee pot going, and the coffee gets made, and I drink 1 cup, and then I drink it. After about 3 cups, like, I think I can do anything. You know, it's like, if that moment, if that window could just last, and that's when I call Liz. Well, life on life's terms is not a hell of a deal, even with both hands on the wheel. Well, it's a mighty rugged road we ride. We might reinvent ourselves, but we don't really become someone else. And I'm here to tell you, tomorrow is no place to hide. Ah, Elizabeth, well, is it just the coffee talking? As I struggle through the fog of yet another brutal morning, I am wishing I was there with you in your sacred garden, sipping from that cup of wisdom that we have come to share. And anything we choose to sing can and will be used against us. It's a heartbreaking business. We keep both hands on the plow, but there won't be no turning back, no shaving corners off our troubles, and no lights in any tunnels, and not a chance of digging out. Ah, Elizabeth, well, is it just the coffee talking? As I struggle through the fog of yet another brutal morning, I am wishing I was there with you in your sacred garden, sipping from that cup of wisdom that we have come to share. Ah, Elizabeth. born of indecision. Well, now it's found me calling for your Elizabeth. Well, is it just the coffee talking as I struggle through the fall of yet another brutal morning? I am wishing, well, I was there with you in your sacred garden, sipping from that cup of wisdom that we have come to share, sipping from that cup of wisdom that we have come to share. Elizabeth, thank you. It's a love song for another man's wife. This is pretty, really easy, technically. D-A-E-E-C-G. I'm going to give you a statistic. In the last 710 days, every hour, one child has been killed in Gaza. Sackcloth and ashes underneath the thigh of the hand. That's 150 lashes, way more than any man could stand. And if you keep silent in a time such as this, accept the ways of gain by violence, you are taking, you're accepting the risk. Sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. I can hear King David calling, oh Absalom. And sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. And here we are 3,000 years later with the worst yet to come. A day of darkness, black clouds across this land. The nation up and plays the harlot. The waters don't flow on the desert sand. So turn back the pages to a time you hold so dear, and you will see down through the ages the message written, the lesson given is clear. Sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. I can hear King David calling, oh Absalom. And sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. Here we are 3,000 years later with the worst yet to come. The tent, slaughter the lamb, cross the river to another land. It's holy ground, but there's blood all on it, and killing is killing no matter what you call it. Sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. I can hear King David calling, oh Absalom. And sins of the fathers fall upon the sons and daughters. Here we are 3,000 years later with the worst yet to come. So if you keep silent in a time such as this, Accept the ways of gain by violence. You are taken, you're accepting the risk. That is a song that is actually going to be on a new record I have coming out, and Elizabeth Williamson is singing on that, along with a woman by the name of Sarah Mack, who you might remember from a long time ago, who I brought out of retirement. She got married and had a baby and said she was tired of this business, and I went and drug her into the studio and got her and Liz to sing, and I think it sounds really cool. Yeah, you know, I'm always telling other people what they ought to do. I was in recovery, and I had a sponsor one time, and I had been struggling staying sober, and he finally told me, he says, you need to work on 3 things. And I said, okay, here it goes. He says, you need to work on not complaining about anything, not criticizing anything or anybody, and try to see if you can get through one day without giving somebody advice that they did not ask for. And I want to tell you, that's if you can do that, you can stay sober. I don't know what the connection is between all of that, but okay, we're gonna do kind of this is a song, a lot of y'all know this story, but I'm gonna have to tell it anyhow. This is in B flat minor. And yeah. If y'all see him roll his eyes after I tell him what key we're in, I want to know about it, okay? Okay? I get one eye roll out of him, and he and I are going to have a problem. But this is a song, after I came back from Nicaragua, I moved to Wakulla County, which is where Sop Choppy is. And I immersed myself in this culture there because I had no choice but to do that. And one of the things I learned that they have a power plant down in Wakulla County in St. Mark's, and on the Gulf of Mexico. And they make electricity down there, and they put it on these wires, and they shoot it through the Apalachicola National Forest all the way up to Tallahassee. And they did this in the early 60s, and it was this, Wakulla is a very wooded, it's all Apalachicola National Forest, so it was a big deal when they cut this swath through the National Forest, because the people these country people who've been living in the woods, kind of like hobbits, had this place that they could go out where it was kind of open, and they liked to go out there at night. And what they found out is there were these platforms out there about twice the size of this stage that had the poles on it, the power poles. And the way they do it down there is they have like a pinion, a bisagra, bisagra, a hinge. And what happens when the wind blows and the hurricanes, these things can go like this, and it allows them some flexibility where they don't fall down. But some old boy figured out you could take your truck and put it up on top of that platform, and you put it about 2 feet away from that bumper, and you race the engine, and then you hit that pole. And when you do, it sends this ripple down. It sends it down about I think it's 200 meters to the next pole. And it does one of those, and it comes back. It's a little like a wave, but when it comes back, it's smaller. But what you do is you sit there in your truck, and you watch up through that window. And as soon as it hits those insulators up there, bam, you hit it again. And it goes, that dove comes back. And you do that about 5 or 6 times, and that son of a bitch gets to rocking. And what happens is, one of the things that you're trying to achieve by doing this is to get those power wires to rattle around in those insulators. Because if you can get it to do that, it creates what the linemen call zoomies, which ain't a spark. A zoomie is some other thing. It's these intense little agitated things that come out like that, and they mingle with the starlight. And if you got somebody there in the truck with you, they can be real impressed by this. There's 7 million kilowatts running right above our heads, and that's a whole lot of juice, you know, well, it's enough to kill us dead. And there's a tingle creeps across my skin, runs down my spine and up again. I can feel electricity with every hungry touch, and we're sliding kind of slippery like on the hot hood of our truck. And it's what you call a double sin. It's what I'm doing to her, it's what you're doing to him. Oh, and we could not go to your place, and we sure can't go to mine. So we're out and going at it, parked beneath these power lines. Well, I pulled up to the power pole, I'll give it a little thump. I seen you cut your eyes at me, and I just popped my clutch. A little flaming sparks lit up the dark. They come a-raining down like little burning hearts. Oh, but we could not go to your place, and we sure can't go to mine. So we're out and going at it, parked beneath these power lines. Wires and distant stars, it's everything I need, I just want more. Signs are everywhere, danger keep away. I hear you whisper to yourself, you say, this looks like the perfect place. And there's a crashing, buzzing sound shooting down from up above. The currents are ripping through the air. I feel it burning in my blood. I feel it pumping through my veins. A deadly force starting to work on you like a welding toy. But we could not go to your place, and we sure can't go to mine. So we're out and going at it, parked beneath these power lines. I say we're out here going at it. After I moved back from Nicaragua in around 2006, I had never worked as a musician. I'd never sang in a microphone in my entire life. And but I'd gone down to see Liz, and we'd started recording a few songs, and I had this idea. Thank you for that. I want to say that the tips tonight, that 100% of the tips tonight are going to pay for food, care, and veterinary bills for dogs picked up on the side of the highway in Alabama and Texas. Yeah. I mean, and full disclosure, these are my dogs that I'm talking about here. Yeah, so I do take good care of them. I got one now, his name's Rhodey. I picked Rhodey up in the median of on I-10 in Alabama. I was going to South by Southwest in 2016, and he was in the middle. I don't know what that is. So I pulled over and I got Rhodey, and he's been with me 10 years, and now he's deaf and blind. And it's really interesting kind of watching him, his progression, at the same time that I'm watching both of my parents go through this too. So I have a really big year in front of me. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. Okay. Huh? I share because I'm a transparent as a glass of water. We're going to do a song. I'm going to ask y'all to do something. This is going to be weird, and I know the people back here who aren't listening will not comply with this. But I'm hoping that you will. I'm going to ask that you do not clap after this song. It's just one progression. It was back in 1975 that I first had some hope for our cultural divide. That's when I saw hippies and rednecks dancing side by side at Willie Nelson's Texan 4th of July. But in the last few years, there's been a trouble and change. It's like both sides now have just gone insane. Everybody's screaming and nobody's listening. It seems to me like a time bomb's ticking, got your left wing and right wing. You black and white, conservatives and liberals just itching for a fight. When you know they're wrong and you can swear you're right, you can bet there's gonna be trouble. Oh, whip out a switchblade, pull out a gun, pistol whips and some bitch just for fun. And don't you stop dealing till the dealing is done, till we start killing each other. Well, you're wasting time trying to pump the brakes, 'cause winning never happens for those who hesitate. Gotta ask yourself if you got what it takes to take aim at your brother. So get your ice head ready, get your machete sharp, brickbats and ice picks and poison darts. It'll be hard to stop once this shit starts, once we start killing each other. Don't let the circle be unbroken. Don't you let no sunshine in. Well, who gives a damn where all the flowers have gone? The answer's not blowing in the wind. So don't be afraid now to take a stance. Let's all be victims of circumstance. You gotta be willing to give killing a chance. Yeah, let's start killing each other. I say let's start killing. Let's start killing. It looks to me like we're about to start killing each other. Thank you. All right. Let's do this. We're going to do one. We're going to do it. Y'all know who Greg Brown is? Yeah. We're going to do a Greg Brown song. I don't really do a whole lot of other people's songs, and when I do covers, they're generally covers that nobody's ever heard. Hey, Will, what are you up to, man?
How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, man, how are you? I know what we're going to do. I heard this song. I went to Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. And this is the 50th anniversary of me going to school. I graduated from high school in 1975, and I went to Boone, North Carolina. And there was a record store up there, and there was a woman there named Marty, and she ran the record store, and I started hanging out in there. And at that time, I was one of those people that I wasn't really a Beatles person or anything like that. I was a George Jones, Merle Haggard person when I went to college, and Roger Miller, and those are the people that I was, Patsy Cline. But I got in that record store, and Marty introduced me to all kinds of music. And between the end of August of 1975 and December 1st, I got introduced to Graham Parsons, Emmylou Harris, Guy Clark, Jerry Jeff Walker, Billy Joe Shaver, John Prine. I got introduced to all of these people right there, and it was really a big event for me. It changed everything for me. And when I left school, and I left school, and when I came back to visit, and I walked in. This was like 1982, and I walked into the record store, and Marty was there, and she said, "You heard this?" I said, "No," and it was a Greg Brown record. I didn't know who Greg Brown was. It was a CD called In the Dark with You. Not a CD. What was those things before the CDs? Cassettes. Yeah, right. It was a cassette, and I get y'all all had. Do you remember you just put it in the cassette player, and it had the auto, and it just played over and over and over, and this song was in there. And at that time, I was not a musician; I was just a listener. And when I started playing guitar, I wanted to go back and revisit that song and see if I could play it. And I recorded this with Gurf Morlix. Yeah, it's called "Who Would Have Thunk It." Now, it's his song, but there's a part in there towards the end you might go like, Greg Brown didn't write that. Grant put that in there. So be looking. I used to say I could walk all night, and I would and I could. Down that gravel road to the tiny town where the door was always open. I used to say I can walk all night, but it's not true. I can't walk all night, no, because I don't want to. I want a bed and a blanket, something like breakfast sometime tomorrow. I want a bed and a blanket, something like breakfast sometime tomorrow. That's how I'm living now. Hey, 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 hey. Say I could eat a horse, and I would and I could. It was backstreet joints, the middle of no place on the way to someplace else. And I still say I can eat a horse, but it's not true. I can't eat no horse, no, because I don't want to. I want something from the cookbook, that new one with the cool graphics. I want something from the cookbook, that new one with the cool graphics. That's how I'm living now. Hey, 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 who would've thunk it? Hey, 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 well now who would've thunk it? I used to say, I don't care if I ain't got any money, so long as I got my little honey and a shack in the Blackwoods. And I still say that I don't need money, but it's not true. I can't live without money, no, because I don't want to. I want one of them and two of those. Hell, that one looks nice. Wrap it up and put it on my Venmo. I put it on my Visa. I'm singing, hey, 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 hey. Well, who would have thunk it? Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, well, now who would have thunk it? Say, I don't care if I never grow old. That flame, it's gonna burn. I make one quick turn, I'll be gone like Gamble Rogers. And I still say that, but it's too late for me to die young. So I sit at my computer long after supper in search for old friends to tell them living now. Hey, 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 who would have thought it? Hey, 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 well, who would have thought it? Hey, 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 hey. Nice job. I'm going to do something kind of. This is from my hometown. In the middle of going into the studio and recording a record, which I have just finished, we're going to mix it next month. In the middle of all this, I think considering some of the environment that we're in, I started writing just kind of feverishly. So I've been writing a lot of songs now. We have songwriters in here, a lot of them. And I'm going to share a little my process because of the fact that I never picked up a guitar until I was 24 years old. And I had been messing around with words since third grade. When I write a song, I do not pick up a guitar until I have a draft of the song. And now in my head, there's there's phrasing in my head and there's melody in my head, but I don't pick up a guitar. I don't know what key I'm singing in. I just know I'm kind of like in the right key for the voice. And then once I get it written, I kind of move to a guitar and pick up a key that the poor fiddle players go, Jesus Christ, you know, but that's the key that it came out in, you know. The reason they do that, explain what, I know you don't have a microphone, but keys are hard on mandos and fiddles. Like if you throw them like, is a B a hard, B's a hard, because they have what they call no open strings. In other words, they're playing, there's 4 strings there, he's got 4 fingers, and he's having to press a string down constantly with each finger. And there's certain keys like D, you know, like D's easy, you just push 1 finger down, right? Yeah, so they love D. I don't do any songs in the key of D. What's that? But I will say that a really good fiddle player like this one right here, they really don't ever say shit. They think it. They think it. Anyhow, I'm going to try to sing y'all a song. I have never done this in my illustrious career. Try to sing a song a cappella. And I'm going to see if I can pull this off. This started out, I write a lot of poetry, and people ask me, don't you ever get confused about songs and poems? And the answer to that is no. I kind of know from the beginning what it is. But I wrote a poem called They Are the Nation. And after I wrote the poem, I wrote a song. And I'm going to see if I can sing it to you. I do need like an A. What would that be? This is called They Are the Nation. Now, I will also tell you that I have a feeling this song's going to be a lot faster. And I envision it kind of as a bluegrass song. But I've slowed it down, kind of like a cinematographer will slow down film in order to edit it. Because you can see everything in there, and I've slowed it down to where I can kind of hear where the nerves are, and once I find them, I think I'm going to speed it up and make a bluegrass song out of it. And maybe I can find a bluegrass band with the balls to sing it. They are the nation. They are the black heartbeat of everything upon the dark horizon. The deed is done. They own our judges and the guns. And with their crimes now strictly hidden, They have the keys to all the prisons, and those who dare to resist are getting locked up in them. They are the nation. We sensed it coming. We heard the drum beats in the valleys, saw their signal flares a-flashing. But we were weak, and so we became their victims. Thereby stunned and disillusioned, we reviewed our misdirection. And by the very low road they'd taken, they achieved their end. They are the nation. Yeah, they are the nation. They're the red, white, and blue. They're the star-spangled banner. They are Jesus and the execution chamber. They are the nation. The Pledge of Allegiance, acts of disappearance, revenge and bitter grievance. They have writ new laws. And with an angry God mythology, they've justified their cause. The die's been cast. Their dark visions become fact, just jackboots from the past. They are marching now in step. Oh, they're never turning back unless we make them. They are the nation. And they are marching now in step. No, they're never turning back. No, they won't be turning back unless we fucking break them. They are the nation. All right, after that, we're going to do another love song. Yeah. How can you stand there with baby blue eyes and say that you love me while telling me lies? I don't know where you've been, but you sure weren't alone. I just found a picture of somebody's wiener on your phone. I'm looking at this children. Well, I'll give a girl credit where credit is due, and admit that your new guy, he's a straight shooter too. But you're a nasty little thing thinking you'd hide that bone. I just found a picture of somebody's wiener on your phone. There's a picture of somebody's wiener on your phone. Well, you went to the shower, but you forgot one small thing. I found a phone on the nightstand and it started to ring. And I took a gander, and what did I see? One hell of a hammer staring right back at me. Well, never mind the dinner, I put my shit in the car. I got the stash from the freezer and all our cash from the jar. But there's just one more thing before I say goodbye. There's boobs on my iPad and they're twice your size. So call me sometime and kiss my ass at the tone. I just found a picture of somebody's wiener on your a picture of somebody's wiener on your phone. Hey, Em, thank you so much, man. Right after I got sober, 33 years ago, believe it or not, yeah, my sobriety has wreaked more havoc than my alcoholism ever did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My alcoholism was a midget compared to the problems that my sobriety could cause. But I moved to this little island in 1995 called Little Corn Island. This is an F sharp minor. And it's called Little Corn Island. And it's a really interesting place. We have people in here who have been down there with me. Yeah, I do annual tours to Little Corn Island. If any of you are interested in it, and Victoria has been down there too. And if any of you are interested in coming down there on one of these trips, we are full for 2026. But if you're interested in coming down, this is a special place. It's a Caribbean island. It is black Caribbean culture. It is owned by a Latin country, Nicaragua. There are no cars there. There are no motorcycles, which was part of the appeal that got me there. And I would have thought that 30 years later they would have had them, but they do not. They don't allow them there. And it's a really special island. If you're interested in going, we got information over there. At any rate, so when I moved down there by myself. I'd been seeing this woman up here in the States. I don't mean to say this woman. That sounds almost. I'd been seeing this, a female, a lady. And she was a very nice person, but I had my own plans. And whatever we had did not keep me here. And I got down there. And as soon as I got down there, I got malaria. And as I told you, there was no communication. And my parents, I'd been there a month, and they had not heard from me, and they were thinking the worst. Of course, they thought the worst when I got on the plane to go down there. But they sent her, Kathy, bought a ticket for her to come down there and check on me and to report back. And she came down there, and by that time, I was just getting to feeling better. And she never left. And she was there 11 years with me, and which was a good thing because we ended up starting a hotel and a dive shop and all this stuff. I'm telling y'all way more than you want to hear. Really? Are you sure? At any rate, we were there 11 years, and it was a really strong marriage. But we came back up here, and I got into the music business. And that kind of pulled the wheels out from under it. And I have never made an amend to her, and this song is not an amend. This song is called Little Island, which is what everybody down there calls Little Corn Island. And it's a song I wrote for her. I found a photo yesterday in the bottom of a drawer. It was you years ago on Little Island, in a short flowered dress and a little floppy hat. Couldn't tell, but maybe you were smiling. The photo, you were standing on a cliff above the ocean, important towards a ship on the horizon. The message therein was your ship was coming in. I think that's what you thought on Little Island. back to Little Island at the end of last year. The people there, they asked me all about you. I lied and said that we were still friends. I'd rather told the truth but didn't know how to. Went up to the hotel and I stared into the very well I dug in 1998. And I could see your reflection in the water at the bottom. For a minute there I almost said your name. Yes, I almost called out your name. Sandino vive, la lucha sigue, no me conviene lo que pasó. This is no apology, been thinking about the days, those days long ago. On Little Island. There were no Indians sleeping in catboats in the harbor, no lobster being hauled up from the sea. No turtles being slaughtered, no cocaine being bartered, just tourists in the new shops and cafes. Well, I tell you, it was strange, the whole damn scene, like I was living in some kind of dream. Yeah, ghosts were everywhere, that's a mystery in the air. Some things haven't changed on Little Island. Some things remain the same on Little Island. Sandino vive, la lucha sigue, no me conviene lo que pasó. This is no apology, been thinking about the days, those days long ago. On Little Island. And I remember the day we took a freight boat to the main, on the aft deck in a hammock in the shade. A little bird flew in, ate breadcrumbs from your hand, and the people were all amazed. Ah, but me, I guess I knew that your spirit through and through was more connected to that bird than men like me. The bird flew away, I saw tears on your face. I watched as they fell into the sea. Yeah, your tears, they returned to the sea. Sandino vive, la lucha sigue, no me conviene lo que pasó. This is no apology, been thinking about the days, those days long ago. On Little Island. That little house we built had fallen into ruin. Whatever we buried's been lost. Forgotten but familiar, understood but peculiar. It all kinda added up to naught. And I walked among the graves where we buried our dogs, beneath the trees where the hammocks had swung. I'm only writing to you now to make sense of it somehow. Try to figure out what went down on Little Island. Can't explain what took place on Little Island. Sandino vive, la lucha sigue, no me conviene lo que pasó. This is no apology, been thinking about the days, those days long ago. On Little Island. Little Island. Thank you. Okay, I don't know. I've been talking about my sobriety, so I'm going to do a song. I told you that all of my songs I took to Elizabeth Williamson. And on my first record, I had a song that I had written to my first wife. which was an amend. And I took it down to Liz and I played it for her. And she listened. She goes, man, I like it a lot. But she said, you have written that from your point of view. And because I was telling her, you know, hey, you know, like the kind of the I'm sorry and what a, you know, how bad I was kind of song. But she said, what about if you wrote it from her point of view? In fact, instead of telling her how sorry you were, that the best way to do that would be to have empathy and to be able to show her that you understood what it might have been like to stand in her shoes while you were going through all that shit. And so I went back and I retooled the song. And I'm gonna sing it for you. But before I sing it, I'm gonna read another poem that I wrote that's kind of along those lines. The segue is whatever it is. This is called Things Do Not Happen for a Reason. I don't know if any of y'all here have had an alcoholic like in your life, maybe you'll be able to relate to any of this. It is not the price of the booze, but rather the accompanying cost of bad decision making that ultimately raises the curtain on one's life. When she wrapped the car around the power pole, a cascade of beautiful sparks had floated down from the dancing wires above. From the radio, a midnight station played on jazz, while the rear wheel continued to spin round and round on the bent axle as if it were a child's toy. Several cars slowed to survey the violent scene and then drove off. But he stopped and trained his headlights on the crash. Her car was on its side, and through the glass of the cracked windshield, she watched him approach, circumspect, tucking in his shirt, a man with a job to do. A sharp pain was emanating from her left shoulder to her fingertips, but she could taste blood in her mouth, though she knew at that very moment she was safe. He knelt beside the car and peered in. You okay in there? Oh, I'm great. She spit blood. Can you get me out of here, please? He kicked in the windshield with his boot, crawled in, turned off the radio, unbuckled her, and carefully removed her from the cocoon of airbags. He sailed the bottle he found on the floorboard into the woods, carried her purse, steadied her as they walked back toward his truck. Thank you so much, she said. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. They were married within a year, and she got sober for the first time since college. Things happen for a reason, her best friend told her over coffee. That's total bullshit, she said. Sometimes you just crash lucky. If you could find a love like the one you dream of, would it really be enough to keep you happy? I see no end in sight, and there's no blinding light to light your troubled path. If you need help, I hope you won't ask, for I am empty now. If you could find a place, one that keep you safe, would you even crawl that way? Or just stay in your storm? I see no sight, and there's no blinding light to light your troubled path. please don't ask, for I am empty now. And every truth you try to latch on to, it takes you down, won't see you through. The dust that you kicked up, if I could give, well, I still knew how, but, well, I am empty now. I see no end in sight. There's no blinding light to light your troubled path. If you need help, don't ask, for I am empty now. And yes, I'm all bled out, and I am empty now. How we doing? I mean, I don't feel like taking a break. Is that okay? I mean, I know everybody takes a break after 45 minutes, but I'm going to keep going. Are you leaving on me, though? You are, aren't you? Going to leave on me? I understand, but thank you. Thank you, Rick, for being here. Everybody say goodbye to Rick. We love you, Rick. Oh, no, I'm not shaming. Oh, man. Okay, I promise we'll take a break in a minute. How about that? See, what we're going to do is I'm going to take a break after 2 hours. I'm going to play for 2 hours. Then we're going to take a very short break because we have saved all the good shit for the last 40 minutes. So we're going to take a 20-minute break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to play the good songs, okay? And I know I see you yawning. Is it Patty? Patty, you're yawning. Rick's wanting to leave. Huh? Oh, we need a Betty. Let's do Betty. Okay, we're going to do a sing-along, okay? Okay, so, and this is Liz Williamson keeps coming up. I had written the song. Once again, I had the words to this song, and I had actually tried to pick up a guitar, and I could not find the chords. It had a little jazz exchange in there with which I was not familiar. I could kind of hear it, but I couldn't find it. And I knew just who to go to because Liz Williamson knows all the jazz chords. And I went down there and I gave her the lyrics and I kind of hummed out what I had, and she said, okay, I'll help you finish the song, but you have to promise me that you won't tell anybody I ever had anything to do with this song. And but it's a sing-along. Now, we got a lot of songwriters. It has a bridge in it, and you guys are going to sing the bridge, okay? Now, a bridge in a song, it is a construct of a song. You've probably heard that term, and you don't know what it is. And the definition of a bridge, it's a piece of part of a song. It comes in one time. It generally comes in 2/3 to 4/5 of the way through the end of the song. Comes in one time, and it always introduces something new, either melodically or thematically into the song. And so it's a bridge that carries you over to finish the song. In this case, it doesn't do that. But I'm going to teach you how to sing it. Are you ready? And so this is what it's got. These are the chords. And you're going to do it 3 times. You're going to go. And then you're going to go. Push. Okay? Can we rehearse it one more time? Because I was not really impressed. But okay, let's go. Okay, y'all ready? Come on. Ready? That's a lot better. Okay. Okay, but don't wait till I give you the stink eye before you do it. You're going to want to get, it's the bridge. It's not, okay, here we go. It's the middle of the morning and the coffee pot's empty, and Betty's got time to kill. You see her husband's at work and the kids are at school, and the house is all quiet and still. And the beds are made and the floors are swept. She's got a smile on her face, 'cause Betty knows what's next. She'll be thinking dirty thoughts to get clothes clean. Betty and her washing machine. It's Betty and her washing machine. Betty and her washing machine. Well, it's her little secret, that's how she wants to keep it. Betty and her washing machine. It's pull to start, push to stop. Betty can't quit once Betty gets hot, and they come together to get clothes clean. Betty and her washing machine. She'll be standing there grinning with the lid cocked open, watching that water shoot in. Things will go to moving, she'll go to grooving. Her eyes will roll back in her head. It's heavy duty, rinse and spin. She'll wash them once, then she'll wash them again. The neighborhood will wonder when they hear her scream. Betty and her washing machine. It's Betty and her washing machine. Betty and her washing machine. Well, it's her little secret, that's how she wants to keep it. Betty and her washing machine. It's heavy duty, rinse and spin. She'll wash them once and then she'll wash them again. The neighborhood will wonder when they hear her scream. Betty and her washing machine. Here you go. It's Betty and her washing machine. Betty and her washing machine. Well, it's her little secret, that's how she wants to keep it. Betty and her washing machine. And it's heavy duty, rinse and spin. She'll wash them once and then she'll wash them again. The neighborhood will wonder when they hear her scream. Betty and her washing machine. Yeah, they come together to get clothes squeaky clean. Yeah, I threw you there, didn't I? It's Betty and her washing. Betty, she's a walking. Betty and her washing machine. That was good. That was good. Hang on, Rick. We got five. We're gonna do one more song. But before I do the song, I have to confess to something that I told you. I went on tour this summer, and I had to cancel the end of my tour because I just flat out gave out. You had me a gig, another show in Vermont, and I bailed on it. Oh, you bailed too. Okay, but. Anyhow, I took off. I had a Honda Fit with 249,000 miles, 742,000 miles, and I'd had a bunch of work done to it, and my mechanic said, I think you need some new injectors. And before I took off, I said, well, I'm just going to take it to the Honda shop and put some new injectors to it. So I took it out to the dealership, which I hate taking a car to the dealership, and I left it there overnight. And they called me back the next day saying, oh, we couldn't get to it, but we'll get to it tomorrow. And they called me and they said, okay, it's ready. And I came out there and they said, you need new injectors. And I was like, God damn it, I knew I need new injectors. I'm getting ready to go drive 9,000 miles. And he said, well, I'm sorry, we have to do our diagnostics. We can't just go in and do it because you tell us to do it. And so I had to make a decision. Was I going to go in that car or was I going to buy a new car? Well, I went and looked at a new car called an HRV, a Honda HRV. And I drove it and I liked it, but I didn't want to go spend $30-something thousand on a new car and then go stomp 9,000 miles on it. I just didn't think it was the right thing. So I said, I'm going to try to make it in my Honda Fit. So I took off and I made it, went up and played some shows in Southern Illinois, and then I went to Iowa, and I played a show in Iowa in a little town, and the next day I was heading to Minneapolis to play, and you know what happened? Yeah, well, it didn't actually stop. It slowed down to 25 miles an hour. And at Mason City was 12 miles, and I found a Honda shop, and I called them. I'm just going like this. And I called them on the phone, and I said, hey, do you have a Honda HR-V in stock? And the guy said, yeah, we got one. It's a 2026, and it's blue. And I had no idea at the time how blue it was. And I said, I want it. And he was like, he was incredulous. I didn't even ask the price. I said, I want it, but here's the deal. I can only spend an hour and 45 minutes in your shop getting it because I have a show tonight in Minneapolis. And he said, well, come on in. He said, what's your license? So I gave him my license number. I said, I'll put $5,000 down on it because I have my checkbook, and that's everything I had in my checking account. And I said, and so I got there, and I pulled up, I went in, and I drove the car off the showroom floor like the tires were going squeak, 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 you know, on the concrete. And I drove it out, pulled it up next to my Honda Fit, took all the shit out of the Honda Fit, and put it into the HR-V and took off. And I played my show that night in Minneapolis. I was a little late, yeah. So all of that is just to tell you that the financial strain of this has required me to take on a corporate sponsor. And will you hold this? Okay. All right. Just you kind of hold that. You know, like the van. Come on, you can. There we go. There we go. Are you concerned about the future of our country? Do you see conservative, Christian, right-wing, Republican, straight, white American males embracing autocracy, totalitarianism, and fascism, and putting the free reins of democracy into the hands of billionaire oligarchs? Of course you see this. But maybe you have grown tired and weary of the fight against tyranny. Maybe the weight of the struggle has got you down, and you're not feeling that zest of energy that once fueled your progressive ideology and spiritual sense of justice. If so, fear not. Just brew you up a cup of Grant Peebles anti-fascist coffee. This coffee fights fascism, and it says so right there on the bag. Yeah, just 4 or 5 cups of this dark Nicaraguan brew will get you energized and back on track in the fight against Obama-hating, gay-bashing, black-fearing, tree-killing, soul-saving, flag-waving, fox-loving believers in fascism. So you can pick you up a bag of this anti-fascist coffee on sale here tonight and continue in the fight for the ideals and principles upon which our great nation was founded.
We're American revolutionaries. We're American revolutionaries.
This is Lou, everybody.
Smells good.
Yeah. If I have one left, you'll get one. Since you're not getting paid, you might get some. All right, we're going to do one more song, and then we're going to take a break. And I'm going to judge everybody here by whether they stay or not. That's not true. There are a lot of people here tonight who were at my Heartwood show just last month. And I see all kinds of people here who have supported everything that I have done for the last 20 years. And I really, really appreciate it. All right, we're going to do a song. This is a story. This song was supposed to be in that movie called, they called me, and I actually had a contract for this to go into this movie. And it was the #1 New York Times book of the century. It was based on that. And this movie was supposed to be the #1 movie in all times. And it made all kinds of damn money. And I had the contract, but it was on hold, and they passed. I can only say if you have not seen that movie called 50 Shades of Grey, I would appreciate it if you would not go see that goddamn movie. If you could find it in your heart not to go see it, I would be very... Yeah. Let me see if we can do it. This is in C sharp minor. Well, it was early spring, asleep St. Louis, searching for higher ground. I rode southwest toward the new territory, made a circle round every town. At night I'd sleep in them open fields, the stars would watch over me. And with a stone for my pillow and a finger on the trigger, I considered what it meant to be free. Before the night in, I stopped at a bend where the Arkansas River flowed. A house appeared to me neath a sycamore tree, and I rode up to the front porch. And a voice called out, said, "It's all right, just kick your boots off, please." I found a woman in there, she was strapped to a chair. I could tell she'd been waiting on me, and that kind of woman, I say that's the kind of woman I've been looking for all my life. Well, black tea and biscuits, a candlelit parlor, a fire crackled in her stove. I sat on her sofa, she come a little closer, I felt something rise in my bones. She read me some poetry from bloodstained pages, a book from her highest shelf. And then she led me by the hand to the promised land and introduced me to myself. And that kind of woman, I say that's the kind of woman I've been looking for all my life. And we fell fast asleep on her bed of nails. I woke up when the cock crowed twice. I poked at the embers in her coal-fire box, and things started to warm up nice. She was still half asleep when I told her my dream. The serpent, it taught me to fly. And then she made me roll her over, put my hands on her shoulders, give her something to remember me by. And that a woman, I say that's the kind of woman I've been looking for all my life. Well, she was wrapped up in a blanket, she made a pot of coffee, and helped me get my boots back on. She pulled a coin out of the air and she slipped it in my pocket, and I walked out the door alone. Well, she was watching from the kitchen as I saddled my pony. From the window, she blew me a kiss, and I was well on my way. I had ridden all day before I felt it hit my lips. And that kind of woman, I say that's the kind of woman I've been looking for all my life. I made my way out to Santa Fe. It took a year to start my life anew. The secret night that kind of wore me down, but I knew what I had to do. It was a 6-week ride to that riverside in hopes that the pain would be lifted. And I searched everywhere, the woman wasn't there. It was like she never existed. And that kind of woman, a Valerie Wisecracker kind of woman, well, that's the kind of woman I've been looking for all my life. And I say that's the kind of woman I'll be searching for the rest of my life. Okay. I'm gonna ask y'all right now. We're gonna be, since things have not been very democratic lately. We're gonna go democratic. How many of y'all want us to play for another 40 minutes and then stop? Or how many of y'all want to take a break and then us come back and play? You want to take a break? Okay. Okay, we're going to take a break. All right. Everybody take a break. I hope to see you again, but I understand if you can't. Come over and get you some coffee. See how democracy